Of the Jeff Crilley Show. I am your host, Jeff Crilley, and I'm thrilled to introduce a friend. We've known each other for a decade now. Can you believe that? This is Karissa Condoianis.
Yeah, that's right. Good job. Yay!
It was much easier when it was Schuler.
I know, yes, okay. I agree.
So she is, I'm going to just call you the voice and face of the fair, because honestly, you are the head of public relations. Is that your title?
Yes.
And you're the person who the media runs to for interviews, and I'm just thrilled to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I'm just blown away by everything that you've built here.
Well, I gotta believe that this is the coolest job you've ever held.
Completely, yes. I've been doing marketing and PR for 17 years now. I've worked in TV, finance, beauty, and then now the fair, and I just have to say everything that I learned in all those other places I can apply here. But getting to actually work for an organization and an institution of history that's been around for 133 years, I mean, I'm the one that I feel humbled by it.
Yes. And I'm glad you said that, because we're going to roll some video, and this is such an iconic fair. Yeah. It's not just the country's largest fair, but it's, I mean, when you think about the couples that had their first date, or they're bringing a child there for the first time. I mean, does that hit your heart the way it does mine, that this is...
Completely. I mean, one of my favorite things that I tell people about at the fair is when I see a little kid look at big techs for the first time. You know, he's our 55-foot cowboy, the friendly, waving guy that says howdy folks and welcomes everybody into the fair. And so when they see him for the first time, that look of awe in their eyes is so, it moves you. And then when they see him, they hear him talk for the first time, and they just it jolts them, but then the bigger smile that they get from that, it's so rewarding, and knowing that we're creating those memories for so many people, yes, it's very rewarding.
You're right, that probably never gets old. You could probably sit there at Big Tex's feet and watch little kids in awe, for days. Yeah,
that's right.
That's really cool. Okay, speaking of Big Tex, he gets a wardrobe change.
He does.
Is that right?
That's true.
When does that happen?
So every few years, due to wear and tear, he stands up there all 24 days of the fair, plus a little before and a little after, and he can withstand 100-mile-per-hour winds while he stands up there. And even if you look back to last year's fair, which we don't like to think about because it was 12 days of rain out of a 24-day event, but that's a lot of wear and tear that he goes through. So we work with Dickies, who's based in Fort Worth, Texas, and they make his clothes. So he'll be getting a new outfit this year, and we're really excited that we just unveiled that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to ask you this, but it just occurred to me. You were there for the fire.
I actually came right after the fire, but I remember that day.
Oh my God.
I was at Beauty Control,
yes.
And I remember posting on my Facebook page, Rest in Peace Big Tex. I grew up in Dallas, and so I grew up going to the fair and having my ticket from school, to be able, your fair ticket to go down at the fair. And it was a sad day, and that actually made international news when he burnt down.
Right.
And I wasn't there at the time. I joined a few years later, but the fair was able to bring him back just 1 year later for the start of the next year's fair. And so it took a lot of work to get to that. And we've made a few tweaks since then on him, but it's, he is so iconic.
Yes.
Since that time, the State Fair has rebranded, and he is in our brand now, because I think he always meant so much to everybody out at the fair.
Yes.
And I think that when that happened, they realized how much he meant to the world and how much he stood for, and not only for people here and locally and that go to the fair, but for the state of Texas itself.
Yes, absolutely. I remember some of the announcers on ABC and CBS explaining to the viewers that this is not just a giant statue. This is, in some cases it kind of represents Texas. I mean, it's the seal of Texas.
That's true. I remember I was in San Francisco a few years ago with my husband, and we were walking across the bridge, and I had on just a white baseball cap with Big Tex's head on it, and people that were pointing and were like, Big Tex, or this or that, or oh my gosh. And you realize everybody knows who Big Tex is, and that he does stand for a lot. He's a friendly cowboy, and that's what a lot of people think of when they think of Texas. And I think, it's something that we should all be proud of, that's what people associate Texas with, is just friendliness.
Well, and you're a mom. You have 2 little ones.
I am, yes.
Okay, names of the kids?
Riley and Ryder. Riley's 3, or she's about to be 3, and Ryder's about to be 6 months. So 2 kids, was pregnant during fairs. I was 9 months pregnant with Riley during the fair a few years ago. That was interesting. It was so much fun. Isn't that what we say in PR? It was so much fun. But yeah, no, she loves the fair, and she talks about big techs, and she talks about coming to the fair with mommy this year. And so I'm excited. She's finally at that age where I think she gets it. And so I can't wait for her to actually like experience it all this year.
Well, I'm anxious to find out her childhood memories years from now.
Right?
Because, I mean, you're like... Walt Disney, right? You can let her into the Magic Kingdom, right?
It's true. I mean, it's kind of true, but it's it's weird too. But at school, a lot of times they're like, "Oh, I heard you work with Big Tex." I'm like, "Big Tex is my boss." Yes, Big Tex is my boss, and so it's going to be a fun childhood, hopefully, for them.
That's cool. Okay, we can't talk about the state fair without talking about food. So
of course.
We've got some videotape from previous fairs. What is it about state fair food that is so iconic?
Used to food started in the history of the fair. It was more like home cooked meals back in the day, or boxed lunches and things like that. And it was groups that were going out there in churches that were doing food. Then over the years, it turned into more food stands, and you started getting funnel cakes and hamburgers and hot dogs, and corny dogs came in, in 1942 with Fletcher's, and they're the iconic corny dog. And we had Fernie's that brought the funnel cake out to the fair. It's just, I don't know. There's magic. It's magic. Fair magic in the food, and it's one time a year, and so you feel like you can really indulge, and there's just the way it tastes during the State Fair of Texas is so different than if you were to have it outside of the fair.
Yes.
I don't know if it's just the atmosphere and the energy that's out there, but there is just something so special about it.
And I appreciate the ingenuity that these vendors use to come up with this. I'm imagining them walking through a grocery store, looking at different things, saying, deep fried and on a stick.
Right? I've also heard people, like Christy or Pillow behind Fernie's. She says one time her son came in and he started pulling leftovers out of the fridge and just started kind of putting stuff together, and it triggered an idea for one of her dishes that she made it to the finals with a couple years ago. And so these ideas of inspiration can come from anywhere. You just never know, and you always have to be open to the possibility of it. But the Big Tex Choice Awards, we started in 2005 when a lot of fairs were closing their doors back in that time, a way to elevate food at the State Fair of Texas. And how do we continue to challenge our concessionaires to continue to really raise the quality of the food? And now this competition has become, people nationally cover it and talk about the food that we launch out here at the State Fair of Texas. We give advice to other fairs about how they can implement different food competitions at their fairs as well to really keep the food elevated. And so we are amazed every year because we keep thinking there's no way they can top that. No way. And then they come out with their whole slew of ideas. We had 49 entries this year in the Big Tex Choice Awards. We had to narrow that down to 33. I had to taste all 33 items in 3 days. It's a tough job, Jeff. It's tough, but had to taste all 33 items. And then I don't judge, but there's a panel of judges that are doing the same. Yes. And then we get to the top 10, and now we have our winning 3 this year.
Okay, well, so do some name dropping, because, you're there, and you have big concert names, and I know Oprah came to visit
Oprah
the
came
fair.
in 2009. Yeah. That was because of fried butter.
Is that right?
Yes, because of fried butter. She had to come check out the fried butter.
Now, were you there for that? Or
no, unfortunately. Predates
me,
yes.
Do a little name dropping. Coolest celebrity you've met so far?
The Apparently Kid from Ellen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so Ellen sent out the Apparently Kid a few years ago, and that was really fun. It was really fun to have him. He was a sweet little boy, and having him go around the fair and really experience that. It was pretty incredible, and he really bonded with one of the DPD officers that was working with us, and
cool.
So they did a lot of rides together and had food together, and that was kind of anything with kids. That's where my heart goes to, and so that was incredible.
Did you ever get to meet any of the big acts, the music acts?
Sometimes I can be back there. A lot of times I'm kind of running around the ground, so I don't get the chance to. But I look forward. Rick Springfield will be opening for the State Fair this year on opening night, so I'm hoping to be backstage for that one. Cameo will be the next night from Word Up from the 80s, so I'm excited for that. And then I love a lot of the throwback artists. And 98 Degrees even is going to be there, so might meet Nick Lachey and that crew. So we'll see. You never know.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
this has been an amazing segment. If people want to know more, they go to the website?
Yeah, bigtex.com has all of the details. And then I also recommend following us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, that we post everything out there. We're a nonprofit, and so this is our biggest fundraiser of the year. And on our social, we talk about that a lot, as well as we talk about all the other fundraising events that people can get involved in to help raise money to send kids to college and help do other things throughout the community.
That's wonderful. Well, Karissa, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You've been awesome. I hope you come back.
Thank you. I will anytime.
All right. Well, that's it for now. We'll see you next time.